most of them went from a program that really didn't either push them to be better or just having a program where they can walk in and feel welcomed. One of the biggest things is that we kind of push that we want to be a family, and it's all you hear that everywhere, right? We're a family, but that's really, really what we're trying to push. We don't want this to be an organization where at the end of Dayton, we go home, we unload the truck, and that's the last time we see each other. Like, we want our students to continue seeing each other and continue hanging out, continue drumming, and really creating a community in the Valley.
Welcome to Femme Forte, the show that amplifies the voices of women and non-binary creatives in music and the performing arts. I'm your host, Amanda DeFries. From drum corps to digital campaigns, Andrea Davila is someone who turns passion into purpose. She's the co-founder of Synergy Percussion and a marketing powerhouse who's worked with organizations such as Bluecoats, Pageantry Innovations, and more. In this episode, we'll talk about how to grow your skills, build a meaningful brand, and create opportunities for students who need it most. Andrea's energy is infectious and her story is incredibly grounding. You'll walk away feeling empowered to take action wherever you are. I had such a fun and inspiring time just chatting with her, so let's jump in. Welcome back to Femme Forte. Today I have a very special guest. Today we have Andrea Davila. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited because, oh my gosh, I don't think you understand, but this has been like years in the making for me because we actually met at a Guardians camp when I was like 15 or 16. And it's wild to think that like we maintain this friendship like years and years and years down the road.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's been about 10 years now, roughly. It's been kind of insane.
Yeah. And so with that being said, like we connected on like so many different levels, both being percussionists and also both kind of like being in the media scene. And so one of the things that I really, really love about you is I feel like we align very similarly as far as like our journey, but also like very differently. And I'm just so curious to ask you like all the questions. And before we get started, why don't you let our listeners and our viewers know, how'd you get your start in percussion to begin with?
Well, I grew up as a Latin dancer. I was in the dance scene, the ballroom scene, since I was about 5 years old. My stepdad and my mom really pushed me into ballroom dancing, salsa, bachata, very like in the Latin community. And so getting into the band scene, I was always very invested in the percussive arts and the percussive sounds of like the dance community. So it was a really easy choice to make when I decided to be a percussionist. Aside from that, just went through the regular Texas high school marching band programs and some of the WGI and TCGC world, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, so kind of when you wanted to take it more seriously, like what was that kind of moment of inspiration that you wanted to try out for drum corps and do WGI? Because, you know, in some people that I know that, you know, they'll do the typical band thing in high school and then sometimes in college and that'll be it. But like, I know for people who just really love the activity, specifically in pageantry arts, like then we'll, you know, outsource to auditioning for drum corps and auditioning for indoor stuff. So really, what was the inspiration for you of wanting to take it more seriously and be more involved in the arts?
I think that it had to be my sophomore year of high school. I had just transferred to a new high school, and my head band director was talking about a new trip that we're going to take to go see like DCI. Had no idea what it was, and I was like, okay, well, it's a trip. Like, I wanted to meet new friends. Like, I'm still new in the school, and I was like, okay. And we went to DCI San Antonio, and we got to experience all the lots, and I saw Cavaliers in the lot, and I saw Bluecoats in the lot, and I was like, oh my gosh, how do I get a part of that, and how do I become one of them? And it kind of changed the direction that I wanted to lead in. It was kind of something I didn't expect to experience and something I didn't really expect to kind of get involved in. And it was kind of just, yeah, this is it.
Kind of transitioning into the media world and being more involved on that side. What was that transitionary point for you where you kind of moved from doing performance into more media and like marketing and communications?
I've always liked to say that I was given the passion, not the talent. I love the marching arts and I love band and I love being around it, but I was never the best player and I was never the best musician around. I just knew that I enjoyed documenting everything that was happening, whether it be my older peers or when we'd go to lots or when we'd go see other competitions. And I just loved recording everyone and kind of taking pictures. And I've always been that person in my like household or my friend group to take a picture and make sure that everything's being recorded and documented. And so that's just where my role kind of transitioned. I started my high school Instagram page and it kind of started from there. We were documenting what was going on with the percussion, with our ensembles, with what was going on with our jazz ensembles, and it kind of just went from there. I got into the university and I saw that there was a need. Every organization had their own Instagram page, their own Facebook page, and I saw that. I was a part of the university pep band, and I was like, well, I think it'd be kind of fun, like kind of just want to get back into it. And I talked to our director at the time and I was like, is that something I can do? And he was like, yeah, for sure. He's like, but I'm not going to run anything, you do the thing. And I was like, okay, yeah, let me try it out. And we started from there. I started documenting all the games, taking pictures at the events, videoing the group. And then we kind of just transitioned from that pep band to our first year of indoor winds. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. We've got to be taking pictures. We've got to be making sure that we have memories of this. And that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I relate to you wholeheartedly because that's how that happened for my university. Because my university, I think at the time we had this like a social media page, but it wasn't very active. Or at least when I had started like my freshman year, it wasn't very active. And so when I even transitioned from being a jazz studies like performance major to communications, once I started picking up the media thing, then I got involved in the marching band and I was like, what if we just start a completely brand new social media? And that's when I was doing videos for the football team. So I was like, I'm already going to be at the games. Like, I don't need to record halftime, but I am, right? And so I talked to my professor and kind of pitched him like, hey, like this is like a volunteer thing. Like I want to not only build my portfolio, but I'm also really passionate about capturing band. And that turned into starting the band social media pages. And then I even had like a team at the time and kind of like built that team as far as them being like boots on the ground and capturing more of like the mobile social media stuff. And then I was doing like a lot of the produced content. And then from there, I kind of like helped my last 2 years of college build the media content for the band that ended up being used in like their promo stuff, which was really cool. So how you just kind of said of being involved in the pep band and starting their social media and growing it, like I come from a very similar background, and so that's why it's like, oh my gosh, like yeah. so much similarities. So kind of like talking about that and how you said it transitioned into wins, was that something you pitched, someone else pitched, or it just kind of happened?
It was our inaugural year for the wins, and I was already running the pep band, and the pep band kind of was the wins. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of kept taking pictures. That at the time, the percussion section was the back ensemble, and I was just like, well, I mean, some of the times there's rehearsal that we're not really playing it, let me go take pictures. Or let me just make sure it's like we're posting on our Instagram. Or it was a new thing that we were doing. It was back in 2019. So it wasn't really like as big of a thing as it is now. And I remember that it was just something that we were like, okay, well, let's just keep doing it. Let's see where we're going. And then we just saw more and more engagement. We saw more people showing up to our events. And it was just kind of cool. Like that's kind of how it flourished into that.
Yeah. And so your like involvement with that was completely self-started, right? It was just something that you wanted to do, and so a lot of it was kind of you essentially just wanting to be involved just because you like created the position for yourself, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't anyone that was like, hey, this has to be done, but it was just kind of I want this to be done. I think what we're doing is really cool, and you guys got to check out what we're doing. It was just something that it kind of started from, just basic Instagram, taking pictures on my phone, to getting my first camera, to being like, well, let me just try this thing out, to then wanting to go more into the marketing aspect of it, to be like, I can make our shirts, I can make our like logo or branding. Like, I just want us to look cool. I want us to do the thing and look cool.
Right. And so with that, you've been able to like leverage those skills and then move into like different aspects of the art. So I know, I think during like one part of the summer you were with Bluecoats, and then you were able to work for Pageantry. So was that the path that you kind of knew that you wanted to take? Were those opportunities kind of presented to you? What was that kind of career path and journey like for you?
That was about my fourth year doing like kind of solo marketing and media, and it was not at all what I expected. It was just kind of like one of my friends, Joe, he is also on my media team, and I transitioned away from taking photos and just kind of running social media and like our marketing stuff. And so he was kind of taking all our photos, and he told me, he's like, why don't you try out for a social media position like with the marching arts? And I was like, okay, no, like I'm not gonna get like I'm not gonna get the job. Like I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know anyone. I had never marched drum corps. I had just been a WGI kid, like in and out. Like I did not know anything about the drum corps world. And he's like, well, just apply. And I remember just sitting down at my computer and sending out a bunch of applications. And then I got the call back from Pageantry and from Bluecoats a couple weeks apart from each other. And it was just kind of weird. It was crazy. I didn't really know what to expect because it wasn't something that I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. It was just kind of, okay, I'm in this position now. Let me make sure I get it done.
Yeah. And so like through like taking pictures and then running social media and marketing, is that something you went to school for, or is that a lot of the things that you kind of just learned on the fly?
Well, my first year of college, I was a music education student. I was all about band. I was like, that is what I wanted to be. And then I realized quickly that that was not what I wanted to do. I had a passion for music, but that I wanted to help in a different perspective. So then I changed my degree to mass communications with public relations. Mm-hmm. And so I got my undergrad in that, and that's kind of how that shaped the direction for that. My master's, I ended up getting in communication studies, and I was like, okay, I need to be working more on the media side, talking to people side. I'm not really meant to be on the floor, like playing. I'm meant to be kind of on this side, kind of helping out, helping the wheels run. That's kind of how that changed.
Yeah. That's really, really cool. And so now that is kind of led into Synergy Percussion, kind of where you are now. So start from the bottom to the top. Tell me, what is your role in Synergy Percussion? What is Synergy Percussion? And everything about Synergy Percussion, essentially.
So Synergy Percussion is, I am actually the founder of Synergy Percussion. We were a variety of entities in the Rio Grande Valley. Over a couple of years, it was just kind of a program after a program after a program. And when I jumped into the program, I was about 16 years old, and it was a combination of the local community college and the university. And we decided to kind of, it just, year after year, organizational administration kind of changed. And so that program shut down. And then the next year, that program shut down. And then we became UTRGV Wins. And that was probably the strongest organization that we kind of created, mm-hmm. because it was a lot of student-led organization. And that was something that wasn't really heard of in the organizational management world. Like everything was operated by students, whether it be reserving hotels, doing budgeting, doing fundraising. Like it was all students and our director. And so with that, I gained a lot of experience of a lot of things that I could have done better, and a lot of things that I learned how to do with that experience. And so with that, we decided to go independent from the university. When we were with the university, it was great, but we kind of saw that there was a lack of targeting for students that could not go to the university. When we were with the university, it was kind of a privilege because only university students were in the program. Right. And so with that, you already had to have the privilege of being an educated student, being in that role. And we kind of saw that there was an audience that didn't have that opportunity. Like that was a privilege within itself. And we decided to say, why don't we go independent and kind of open this up for students of all ages, one, and two, the students that their life path may not be to go to college, may be going in a different direction. Maybe they're going into a trade school, maybe they're going into something else. And just because they're a part of the university, they shouldn't be, how how do I say this? Just because they're not a part of the university, we would hate for them to lose out on the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like a big aspect of like advocacy, and that really like speaks a lot, because like I can understand that too. Like as someone, like one of the biggest things that I say on this podcast is with privilege comes responsibility, and that's exactly what this podcast is for, is like being in a privileged place to have a podcast, to have a voice. Like I'm going to use that voice and resources to do that for good. And so I love that, through all your experience of like learning really what it takes to like build an organization, and wanting to use those hard skills to build something into that that could include more people, I think is awesome. And so you kind of just mentioned that you went to the university yourself, right? And not a lot of people really kind of think outside the box like that, as far as giving opportunity to others. And so when was that moment for you, or what sparked that inspiration of wanting to let's say create that impact and provide that impact to a larger community?
At the end of our 23 season, we had a clinic, and we opened it up to students of all ages, and it was a all-day clinic, and our students were the ones that taught the clinic. Like our snares were teaching younger snares, our tenors were teaching younger tenors, and it was kind of that big brother, big sister role. And we were kind of looking around. We expected to have like 15 kids show up, and we had about 40, 50 people show up. And while it's not a huge number for us, it was kind of like, oh, no, there's something more going on here. There's a lot of students here that really want to experience this. Like, this is more than just us. We were, at the time, there was 23 of us in the ensemble. There was 4 snares, 5 basses, and 4 tenors in our battery, 11 in our front ensemble. We were tiny. And we kind of looked around, and I remember we gathered all the students into the stands, and we looked at them and we were like, whoa, like this is a lot bigger than what we're thinking. So then we decided, okay, to the drawing board. What do we do? And when we started Synergy at the beginning of the summer, we kind of sat down with all of our staff. At the time when we were with the university, there was only 4 staff members. It was 4 staff members and all students, which was great at the time, and also very hectic because, 4 staff members isn't really a lot to cover grounds. I mean, that was all the stuff you had to run administration, but also teach fundamentals and teach music and teach this and do this and do this. And they were also full-time band directors in their own respective areas. So when we decided we were going to start Synergy, we decided, okay, we really need to have this organization structured well, and it has to be healthy. No more 80-hour weekends for 2 people. We have to start rotating this out. And that's kind of how it flourished. Everyone on staff right now is either a local band director or a student at the university or someone that is passionate about the arts. And it's been great because as someone that's younger, most of the staff that's around were staff in some of the other renditions of the program, and they're all amazing. I mean, we have an amazing staff, and this program couldn't happen without them. Like, it's not about like really. This wouldn't be like Synergy. When we decided on the name, the definition for Synergy is bringing together 2 forces to make something greater. And we're like, that's perfect. We're bringing together all of the forces of all the old renditions of this program, and we're going to make something stronger, and we're going to make something better for the students and for the community. So that's kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the passion just shows through even you talking about it. Like, I can visibly see like how much you light up and like how passionate you are about this program, which is completely awesome. And with that being said, like with the passion that you have for this program, what fulfills you most about being a part of Synergy?
I love talking to everyone in the organization, whether it be parents, students, staff, friends, and kind of hearing their story and kind of hearing how most of them went from a program that really didn't either push them to be better or just having a program where they can walk in and feel welcomed. One of the biggest things is that we kind of push that we want to be a family, and it's all you hear that everywhere, right? We're a family, but that's really, really what we're trying to push. We don't want this to be an organization where at the end of a date and we go home, we unload the truck, and that's the last time we see each other. Like, we want our students to continue seeing each other and continue hanging out, continue drumming, and really creating a community in the Valley. We want to further expand in the future to not just be indoor, but to have other opportunities, whether it be ensembles or like pep drum lines or something. We just want them to keep having that community. You can't do much without the village, and we really want to. We would really like to home that.
Let's talk about some of the kind of ins and outs of what it takes to build an organization, because you mentioned a lot of some of the skills that you have to pick up was student led, of students like booking hotels and figuring out kind of the logistics of everything. And so what is it that you currently do? Like, what are your quote unquote day-to-day responsibilities, and what does it really take to build and grow in like an organization that you've learned throughout this whole process?
I think one of the pluses of this being an organization that has been built up every single year was learning a lot of, okay, these are things we need to do from day one. These are things we need to do from day one. No, these are things we get. And that was really, really a great learning experience for me. One of the biggest things was paperwork. No one wants to do paperwork, but I remember sitting down like all summer long and like beating my head against the wall and being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing paperwork, and oh my goodness, everyone review this so that I don't miss it. Like, I cross my T's and dot my I's. And one of the biggest things is just asking for help. I think that many times we get caught up with saying I can do everything, and realizing, oh wait, hold on, there's people around me that probably know how to do this, or if not, we can learn together. Day-to-day things, we're actually going up to WGI Dallas this weekend, so it's like right now I have staff back home building our truck out so that everyone can load. We're loading tonight, and so I'm actually fortunate enough to have people that I can trust to take care of that while I'm here, and making sure that they have all the resources that they need back home as well. So pre-planning for that. Okay, so then that means that they need a card, and that means that they need insurance stuff, and they need all the paperwork for that, and the rentals, and making sure that they have the wood for the build out and all that stuff. And that's kind of the logistics of what I work with every day. We check in tomorrow, so making sure we have our hotel stuff. We try to provide transportation or hotel for every trip that we do, because a lot of the times travel fees are what drives the cost of everything. So that's one of our biggest like organizational matters. And then that's kind of just like some of the day-to-day basis, just like all the things that someone else doesn't really want to do, but making sure everything's done so that it's smooth for the next day or for the next person. Really, it's not for me. It's to make sure that my staff doesn't have to worry about that if I'm not around. I don't want to ever be like, if she's not here, it can't get done. Which in the past, I can say like, yeah, that was always like I can do everything, but that doesn't mean that I'm setting my staff up for success. I want them to feel like, okay, we're good to go. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And so a lot of what you've been doing is like really just like moving pieces of the puzzle to like make everything kind of work together, right? And so as far as building the organization as a whole, I mean, I know last week we kind of touched base a little bit on this as far as seeing the impact of like the merch like at a show, or the partnerships that you've been able to build. Like for instance, like Synergy now works with UDB and Beam, right? And so it, even from my side of things, like I know nothing about like what it means to like reach out to brands and sponsors and pitch an organization to create and build those partnerships, for example. So is that something through your experience that you kind of just had to like learn on the go, or is that something that you had like mentors kind of help in supporting you as far as like really getting into the nitty-gritties of like the operations logistical side of things?
I can say that a lot of that was trial and error. TikTok is a good friend of mine when it comes to that, and me looking up how to get sponsors, how to do this.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what are other people doing? And really it kind of started out with me emailing regular brands, like we're sponsored by Dude Wipes. Like that's such a weird sponsorship, but our kids love them, and now we have Dude Wipes for days, for competition days, rehearsal days, and they have them in their bags. And so like it kind of started out like that, and we're like, okay, well, what else can we do? I mean, it's our first year, so we're like, no one really knows who we are. Our following isn't really huge right now, and brands want to have like an interaction. And so I remember reaching out to Innovative last year, and we had that communication with them, and they're amazing. They got back to us, and we had a conversation. We just let them know who we were, and they're like, yeah, let's work together. And we're like, whoa, like that's Innovative. That's insane. Like we're just a little group from the Valley. How are we working with Innovative? And we're like, okay, let's try Sabian. And Mark Reynolds was amazing, and he was like, let's talk. Like, yeah, anything you guys need, you let me know. And we're like, oh my goodness, okay, let's talk to Remo. And we did the same thing with Remo. And then this year we were kind of in the fortunate financial area to be able to purchase our own set of drums, and that's something that's kind of unheard of your first year. So we're like, okay, how do we take advantage of this? And we reached out to multiple drum organizations, like different companies, and we're like, okay, who do we really want to work with? When we sat down at the drawing table, we're like, who are our top three? Why? What do we want to work with? And what's our budget? And we came to work with Tama, and they're amazing. Like that was probably the tip of that for me, because it was kind of crazy to know that Tama decided, yeah, we want to work with you guys. You're a first year group. You're from the Valley. You guys don't really exist anywhere, but we're going to take the chance on you guys, and like, let's do this together. And that was huge for us. I mean, that wasn't something that like was really taught to us. We just kind of, well, let's try it out. Let's see what it, like, kind of one of the quotes that my co-director says all the time. He's like, I'm going to throw ideas at the wall and see what sticks. And we're like, okay, like, let's just try it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, like I said, wildly impressive, because are you my age?
I'm 24, yeah.
Yeah, like wildly impressive as far as like the people that I know that are in our industry, of like being able to accomplish so much, like you said, from a organization where this is your first year. And like, honestly, like one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, one, to just ask you all the questions, but two, like really, like it's an accomplishment and to be celebrated. And for more people that want to do something like this, that are passionate about building their own organizations and starting from scratch, and like essentially building it, you know, grassroots from the ground up, like I think you are an incredible resource and someone who could provide a pathway for more people that want to do this. And so what I think that you're doing is amazing.
I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Did you think, you know, looking back now, let's say looking back, honestly, I'm going to ask you this question. Looking back to when we met, is this something that you saw for yourself, of like being in the position that you are in now?
Absolutely not. Totally not. I mean, if you told me last year where I'd be right now, I would have told you you're crazy. Like, absolutely not. It was just one of those situations where we kind of saw what needed to happen, and I remember talking to my family about it and talking to my best friends, and we're like, okay, what do we do? Because again, like this hasn't just been done with myself. Like it was really the village back home, and the village, right? It's just big. My family like really pushed me to, like, they're like, you've done the thing, you've seen the things go down, you've seen the things come up, and you guys have a passion for it, just do it. And I remember talking to one of my best friends, and he was like, well, I mean, everyone else has done it, like why wouldn't it work when we do it? Like what do we have, like what do they have that we don't have? Like, let's just try it. So that's where we are.
Yeah. And there's a lot of pride, and I can hear in, you know, some of these questions that I asked you, that at the end of the day, like you have a lot of pride about where you are, which is the Valley and like home. And so like what impact does that really add to like the passion that you have for driving Synergy Percussion? Like is advocacy for specifically your community in the Valley is something that's like really important to you, or just in general, like you are just someone who wants to share community with the arts in general with as many people as you can?
When Synergy kind of started, and not even just that, like before that, I remember sitting down with some of my colleagues, some of my like best friends, and they were like, this is a really expensive activity. This is really difficult, but we really like doing it, and it's really difficult to do. Like, I can't imagine driving up north every weekend to a camp. Like driving to Corpus for us, I mean, everything from the valley is really far, like relatively far. Here, the trip from the valley to Austin is about 5 hours, to Houston 6 hours. So it's not really in everyone's. One of the medium income for the valley is about $30,000 to $40,000. So it's not something that is financially like something that a lot of students can do. If you would have told me in high school, like, hey, like this is how much the group cost, I would have been like, well, I can't do it. It's not something I can do. I can't financially achieve it. But one of the things that we decided to do is we've always been in an area where that's been the issue, but we get to do the things anyways because we push it one way or another. Mm-hmm. And so we said, okay, well, it's going to be really hard, and if you guys want to do it, it's going to take a lot of effort, and we're going to want to pull our hair out, but we're going to do the thing. And I know that with that, one of the big things is that without the efforts that the organization does for fundraising, we do a big fundraiser every single month. We do like spirit nights, we do pop-ups, we do events, like we go perform. We're we're the NBA G League drumline for the Vipers back home. So like we do as many things that we can to try to help lower the costs because it takes us that much farther to get to where everyone else is at. Yeah, one of the big things is that we told the students, if you guys want to do it, like we can go all the way. Let's go to Dayton this year. But it's got to be an effort on both of our ends. And so we help host a big fundraiser every single month. And we told them, if you can't fundraise every single dollar of it, then we're failing you. And so that's what we've done. Every single month we've done a big fundraiser or multiple small fundraisers just to help alleviate the costs. Because, I mean, again, if you would have told me in high school or at their age, like, hey, it's going to be this much money, oh, that's great for you. Like, I wouldn't be able to participate in it. And that kills me. I want everyone that wants to do it to be able to do it. And finances, again, everything's going up in cost. But if they want to do it, they're going to find a way to do it. And we want to be able to facilitate that for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm really glad, especially understanding in our world that it is a very expensive activity. And in a way, it does seem there is a cost associated with it, and a lot of times we do fall into that category of just like a lot of people not being able to afford it, and like there's really, really talented people out there that just don't get that opportunity. So the fact that both on the financial side, but also in general, just even initiating like the independent organization as a whole just speaks volumes to how much arts advocacy is like really important to you, and providing that opportunity for as many students as possible is really amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we're just about to wrap up here, but I have a couple lasting questions for you. The first one being, knowing the knowledge you have now, what's the biggest piece of advice that you would have told your younger self?
Be patient, and everything is happening around you for a reason. I think at the time when I was going through a lot of the hardships of growing up or trying to make the ensembles work, I did not have patience. I wanted everything to work that day. And I had to really just take a step back and realize, okay, everything that's happening is a learning lesson, and it's going to work out for a reason. And every experience that I've had, I would not take it away. Like, I would not go back and change anything, because every mentor that I've had in front of me, every partnership that I've had has really, really set me up to be where I'm at today. Whether it be attitude-wise or how to stand up for myself or stand up for the things that I believe in, and really to push the program. I don't think if I would have changed anything, like I don't think I would have wanted to change anything, is what I mean.
Yeah. The second question that I have is, for anybody that wants to start organization or do exactly what you do, what takeaways and pieces of advice would you want to give our listeners and viewers?
I would research as much as I can. One of the big things that I would do is I would get on every single organization's websites and see what they have to offer, what they're about, because not everyone's mission is the same. Who are they really pushing for? What are they really doing? What are they doing behind the scenes? What kind of things are they doing to raise money if they are? And kind of start there. One of the biggest things that I would do is I would go to Pulse's website, and even drum corps. I would sit down and look at Blue Devils, and I would look at Bluecoats, and I would see, okay, what are their mission statements, what kind of fundraisers and foundations and grants are they kind of working towards? Because, there's so much more out there than just doing the band thing. And it's amazing. It's really cool. It's really overwhelming sometimes, but just taking a second to read everything, it's a really cool process once you start kind of really diving into it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Where can people find you? Where can people find Synergy Percussion? Plug all the things that you need to plug.
We are on Instagram at synergy.percussion and on Facebook, Synergy Percussion.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Femme Forte. I hope this conversation left you feeling inspired, empowered, and just a little more connected to your own creative journey. Be sure to follow today's guests and support the incredible work they're doing. You can find all their links in the episode description. And if you enjoy this episode, I'd love for you to share it with a friend, leave a rating or review, and follow Femme Forte wherever you get your podcasts.